Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is Sudha Live. Thank you so much for hanging around with me. I actually have a story of how I was speeding, but not trying to speed in the road today to get to you so that I can do the Sudha Live. So, for those of you who are new to this is my happy hour with you, and I'm a technology futurist from Silicon Valley, and I teach AI and Gen AI in multiple places. And I look forward to this time of the month on a Friday at 6 o'clock my time here and to answer all your questions. So, we've been having conversations about career pivots. So, I am going to talk to you about career pivots. I'm happy to answer your questions. Today's topic is how to make Gen AI work for you. Okay. I am actually hearing my voice in one other channel. This is live streamed to YouTube and to LinkedIn. Let me see where this is coming from. I'm going to close the other windows. Aha, I see it on YouTube right here. Okay, I'm going to close that window. Okay. So, okay, I'm back. So one of the things I like to bring to you is, as a technology futurist, I'm looking at what is happening in Gen AI space throughout the month. And I do, do posts on LinkedIn and I author books. So you must have seen that. But the latest, greatest, I don't want to kind of bring the news and just, read it out to you, because what's the point of that? You can read news from anywhere. So I bring something that's interesting, and I'm always thinking about how your various different roles in the AI building space are looking to create value for your companies, how you're looking to career pivot, how you're looking to innovate in your jobs or create new startups, or you might be, creating support for a specific language with AI in a different country. So, we all do different things. And so I like to bring what's interesting for me from that perspective. So, and those of you who know me from my classes at Stanford know I love autonomous vehicles. And so I had to rush to come to to the studio so that I could talk to you. And I saw a self-driving car. That didn't stop me from taking a picture. So I'm going to show you that, because one of the things I realize is, with any exponential technology like autonomous vehicles, cognitive IoT, and the latest in AI and Gen AI space, there are innovations happening, there's funding for it, and then you suddenly see that there is a wave and there's not enough funding. So autonomous vehicle is one of those where it was in a peak, and there were like 60 companies testing that in California roads. That's when I started chasing them. And then I find that, a lot of consolidation happened. Some of the companies, closed or sold to somebody and stuff like that. And I'm seeing them back again. So let me show you. I don't have a video. I have a picture. Actually, I saw 3 self-driving cars this week. Isn't that strange? Let me show you the first one. So I think this is the latest one I saw today while I was driving to get to our live here at the studio. And this is a Neuro. And we see a lot of Neuro here in Mountain View. And so that was not a surprise. It's still fascinating for me. And then I saw no, this is the Neuro. I'm still showing you the Neuro. Sorry about that. Where's the other one I saw? So then I saw this other one, which is this one, I think, right? Where's the other one? It looks like the Neuro, guys. It looks pretty much the same. Wish I could put both of them together. Let me get you that. Let me find that. That's the Neuro. I'm going to close that. So there's no confusion. This is the other one. Okay, let me go share my screen again. This is the other one. Do you see? At a distance, you might think it's the same thing, but it's not. The LiDAR at the top is very different. And then the other thing, so this is a different car, but it reminds me of the Toyota that I've seen in the past. Um, even the Waymo has this kind of pass, but Waymo has Waymo written on it, so it doesn't look like it's a Waymo. And then the other day I saw another car which was like a homegrown I will find that picture. Maybe I'll share it with you another time. I will share it at Business School of AI. That's where my student community comes together, and I share a lot of stuff. Business School of AI on LinkedIn. So I'll share it there. And this had a totally different LiDAR and not a brand that I'm aware of. So the point is, things are picking up, and there is that wave, and there is so much AI everywhere, and AI is in there. And in this week's GenAI news, one of the thing I heard was about how Google showed the mini bot. It's a humanoid robot. Let me show that to you. It's a cool robot, I think. Yeah, I need to make sure that the ads are skipped. I don't want you to be seeing my ads. Hold on for a minute. Bring that up for you. So there was this thing about the mini bot, Minty bot, I think it's called, it's a humanoid robot. And I realized that there are tech companies like there are autonomous vehicle companies or automotive companies who have the competency to build robots, robotic arms, and autonomous vehicle technologies, and they're contributing to that. And there is BMW has been working on one of them. Anything that's not published and I don't have a chance to, test it out or see it, I don't like to promote it. So I'm not going to give you the name of that, but there is one from BMW collaboration on a robot. Here is one that I am seeing that came from the Google one that I was telling you, the Minty.
Hello, Minty bot. How can I help you?
Minty.
Hey, Minty, please get the shopping cart and come with me.
I got your instructions. I'm going to take the cart.
Looks like slow motion, but for a robot to be able to move is autonomous vehicle technology. To grasp anything is a big deal in the robot world. So I'm going to pause at that. Okay, so that's my excitement of the week, because I saw, I see AI everywhere. We talk about how AI is being pervasive, but there is a lot more that goes into making AIs, and a lot more companies that are working on various interesting things. So in other news, there was this Nest Aware subscription that's from Google, where they're going to take the large language models, which is GenAI, and incorporate that into Home Assistant. And so I've had questions whether Siri is an intelligent chatbot, or does Siri have an intelligent chatbot interface? And there was even like a debate about whether Siri is agent AI. So what do you think? What do you think? Because the existing Google Home is not, and Alexa definitely is not. And that the Nest Aware subscription is behind a paywall is where they're integrating this intelligent LLM-based chatbot for Google Home. So what about Siri? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to LinkedIn and see whether you have any questions, comments for me. The way I see LinkedIn is I see people there. I don't see who is there. I just get to see you as a number. So the best way for us to engage is you can ask me a question, you can introduce yourself, add a comment, and then I will answer your questions. So I want to make sure that I add the chat interface here so that I can see this. Right? Okay, let me see. So the best way for us to engage is you can ask me a question, you can introduce yourself, add a comment. I turned that audio. I will, sorry, guys. So I want to make sure that I add the chat interface. It's going to say even my laughing about myself is going to show up as a repeat till I find that window, guys. The best way for us to engage is you can ask me a question, you can introduce yourself, add a comment. I turned that. Okay. Stopped it. It was a window. Okay, guys, I see the numbers of those of you who are there. So talk to me. Tell me who you are. Okay, I was trying to get the comment window. The comment window is coming at the bottom today. I was trying to bring it to the side, so it doesn't matter. So today's topic is how to make GenAI work for you. And all I've done is told you about the latest, greatest in GenAI space. Doesn't look like any of the boring stuff that you've been hearing. I've been talking to you about autonomous vehicles and robots, Minty bots. And they are incorporating AI, and they are incorporating, whenever we say AI, AI used to be machine learning and deep learning, and autonomous vehicle tech was just about computer vision. And now a lot of, LLM is being integrated into everything. I don't know of LLM being integrated into autonomous vehicle directly for car cognition yet. I just know how it makes it explainable in once a startup has done that. But there's a whole movement to get this going. So coming back to our topic, right? So that's the news seems to be from Google to add NestAware subscription with adding LLMs into the intelligent chatbot to make intelligent chatbot out of Google Home. Reddit is testing like AI search. Then we saw the Mintybot. But how does that all come back to you and what you're trying to do at work? So we talk about Gen AI as APIs and playgrounds, and you have developers trying this out, and then they're saying they are making a promise of what it can do. So coming back to my question, is Siri an agent AI? And let me see if anybody has answered that. I see some numbers of people here. So you could answer that question if you want. Siri is not an intelligent chatbot. It isn't. It is intelligent in the sense it has context. It is like a ChatGPT like interface. They have built that with Apple Intelligence, but it is not. It is not an agent AI. So that brings me to the question of what is agent AI? Anybody wants to take a stab at it? What is agent AI? In a recent session I did at Weekly Wed at Business School of AI, I have this speaker series on Wednesdays where many of you show up and we have a fun discussion. It's only in Zoom, so you don't get to see this if you're following me only on LinkedIn on a live stream. We were talking about agent AI, and I had a fun conversation with Yashashwini Vishwanath, and we were talking about agent AI and multi-agent and stuff. And my focus was what is not agent AI. So many of you have already heard this, that I'm working on my next LinkedIn learning course on agent AI. It's not just an intro to agent AI. It's about building with agent AI. I'm focused, like many people talk about AI, and my specialty is to demystify AI, to make that connection between AI to everything else that you have experience and business acumen, to tie that so that you can go build stuff with it, to go build solutions with it, build products with it, and create real business value, create something with it. So the building part and the product aspect of it is what is fascinating for me. And I don't limit that to just engineers or product managers, and because in reality, whole bunch of teams come together to make this happen. So my promise today is that I will help you make sense of Gen AI and how you can make Gen AI work for you. So we could think about it differently, but as I posted in my recent video on LinkedIn, the way I'm thinking about it is so you say you're in a job and you say, hey, I want to work on AI, because I have been saying this, all jobs are becoming AI jobs. Or you're watching on the sidelines and say, oh, I want to move to AI. Or you have done machine learning or deep learning or done courses on it, but then you want to work in the latest AI, and they're saying, hey, it's all LLMs and Gen AI and agent AI. Do you know that stuff? And I'm seeing AI product manager jobs asking just for 3 years of experience, because people are being reasonable that you cannot ask people for 10 years experience and 8 years experience, but they expect you to have other things that kind of adds up to the experience. So if you are doing anything else, if you're trying to move to AI, this is perfect, because you just need 3 years experience for the job I was talking to you about. So let's take a step back. If you were to work in AI in a company, and either in a job or you're trying to come in, right? What would you need? You need the education, you need the skills. So I'm differentiating between the two. Skills means you know to do that. Education is you have a certificate and you have a degree or something that proves that you have that, right? So you have the education, you have the skill, you should have maybe a project showcase and you have some experience. If there's an experience role, then you have the experience of having built something. So like my courses on Business School of AI are live lab courses where, or they have capstone projects where you build stuff together as a team and you get the experience in that process. And the live lab course, we work with the real business partners. So you work with, live use cases from industry, but you bring experience. So it's knowledge, skill, experience, and some kind of project showcase. You have to show that, okay, I know this stuff. How do they believe you? Because you say, I built this thing, or this is on GitHub, that kind of thing, right? Or this product. So you have those. But there is one more thing that is more important than all this. You need all this. That's table stake. Then you need to show that you can actually transfer, you can create value for the company. You can create value for the division. If you say, hey, we need to bring AI and let's do this, they're not going to believe you. And you say, no, I have the certificate. I know what I'm doing. I've done a project like this. I have this experience. Then you have to articulate what is the value you bring. So they might believe your idea of how we can bring AI to do something in the company, say to change your customer service process, or to optimize some process flow, or to create this huge innovative process or project, right? Even the humanoid robots, somebody convinced somebody and got funding and they built it. And if it's an automotive company and they're thinking they could do this because they have the skill, somebody has to convince the rest of the company or your team or your stakeholders to invest in this, to invest time and budget in that, right? So articulating that you can create value from AI is the number one step. So when I teach my classes, especially my day one of my Stanford class, one of the first question is, do you need AI to solve this problem? Sometimes AI is not the answer, but sometimes AI is the answer. And you need to know why you're doing it, how you justify the budget and ROI. And that comes later. But even getting started, you need to be able to articulate the value you bring. So if those of you are watching, if you want to tell me, an example project role, I will be happy to answer your question or make that an example and tell you how you can articulate the business value, or the value of you, your role, helping create value with AI for your company. I'll do the match through your skills and education. Whatever you put out here, I'm happy to do that live. And otherwise, I'm just going to take an example of a product manager or a business owner. And I use these terms interchangeably. In reality, a product manager is a specific role, but there are various different kind of product managers. A product manager is very technical and works very closely with engineering, or a business person works very closely with the BU. And there are all kinds of product managers, and there are different variations of what they do in different companies. But broadly speaking, and the business person could be doing various different roles. You could be doing BD, or you might be doing a business role to serve a customer, being responsible for some data in a company, right? In some part of the company. So broadly, when I'm talking about product and business owner, because that's what my students are typically, or they are designers, right? The other set of students that I teach are also designers. So you could be, you're basically representing the customer in some form, is how I'm thinking about that. So if you have a role that touches the customer, or you represent the customer, you fight for the customer, you go build stuff for the customer, and you bring feedback from the customer, you serve the customer in a customer service role. You might be a lawyer, you might be an accountant. I'm not discounting that, but any of that which is representing the customer in some form, I'm calling that as product and business people, right? So that's bulk of my students. Or you might be a very highly skilled technical person, but who's gone to a higher level. Now you're responsible for business and growth. And so it doesn't matter if you know to code or don't go code, but your focus is to create growth and serve the customer. So that's how I'm thinking. So if that is your mindset, you're already set up to be successful in the world of AI. And you're very successful to bring AI into your company, into your org, into your job role, or to pivot into AI in any industry or company. So the starting point of this is you have to, so the problem we're trying to solve is, how do you make GenAI work for you? To make GenAI work for you, you need to articulate what is the business value that AI can bring for the company, and why is it you, and how can you translate that, right? And so the first step of it is you need to understand the landscape of what is happening in the AI space. Like I've been telling you, this is the latest news and the stuff that we spoke in the beginning, right? You bring you bring the knowledge of what is happening in the industry and say, this is interesting, but this is not relevant to us. This looks like hype. We will watch it. Maybe it will create value for us. So differentiating between that and getting excited about one or the other, right? So that is very important, and it is very well known. And I've been through that in the beginning because I get very excited about new technologies, and I've been through that with several waves. But there are technologies that I'm not excited about. I do not see them taking off, creating any value. I see them as hype. You won't hear me talking about it. I will not even waste my time telling you why that's not good. I'm not one of those people. I will focus on the things that I see is creating value and how you can utilize it, how I can teach it, how I can, help my students is kind of my focus. So if you get excited about a technology, then you think about, is it here to stay? Is it going to create value for my customers? How is it going to create value for my customers? So one approach is, you might be this intellectual, you can sit and write this down and make a business case, or you might want to talk to your business partners. You might want to talk to a customer who's very excited. I used to spend a lot of time talking to my customers, because as we are looking at some new technology, I would say, maybe this could do something interesting for my customer in the e-commerce space. I will talk to my customer and say, hey, have you seen this? And my customer would have seen it, or would be very happy that I brought it to them. And we would brainstorm and we say, I'm thinking of this. And they would bring their experience where they would say, hey, we don't have access to this data. We have customer privacy that we cannot do this. This doesn't seem right. So let's take the example of voice clone that came from OpenAI and they pulled it back, right? And I've had discussions with my students who wanted to build products around that. And we had some discussion about, hey, is this ethical what you're trying to do? And what kind of product are you trying to build? Who are you really trying to serve, right? So it's one thing if you're a developer and you're given an API and you say, this is feasible, let me try it out. Versus if you are actually a developer or a product manager or any other role who wants to build products that scales and delights customers and gets somewhere, right? Then there's a difference, right? So even the pilot that you would build as a product manager or business person is built with the promise that it can scale and create value. So understanding the lay of the land, understanding to differentiate between what is hype, what is here to stay, is a key skill. So we spoke about how you need education, skill, experience, and what's the fourth one? A project showcase. And then on top of all that, what we are discussing today is how do you articulate what is the value that AI can create and how you're the person who can make that happen. So to make that happen, the number one skill that you need is to know what's the lay of the land and to be able to differentiate what is hype and what is not hype. Now that you're sitting and talking to me here on Sudha Live, you've taken the first step, because that's what we demystify every month. And we do that every week. And I share on my newsletter and all the other channels with Weekly Wed and stuff that we do at Business School of AI. We are trying to make sense of all the noise and sift through that and say, this looks like good technology, which is here to stay. Maybe we can build a pilot. We can create value for customers. This looks like hype. This seems unethical. I don't think it's here to stay. They're going to pull back on it, right? And so that's the first step. Understanding the lay of the land, understanding the latest in news. So it's very easy to get intimidated and say, that looks like a new jargon. That's a new technology I've not learned. Doesn't matter. You have the business acumen. You understand the customer. Your goal is to find out what creates value for the customer, so that you sift through that, right? So then, now if you're going to bring a pilot for the customer, then you might choose a specific API or technology, bring it to the company, or you might build that in-house. You might take it to your developers or data science team and say, hey, can we build this? They might already have tried this out, right? In a very technical proof sense, they might have tried it out. And then you bring the use case and say, can this use case happen? And it's beautiful. You can take it from there to a pilot, right? Or you might say, hey, there is this vendor who is actually knocking our door and promising to come and do a demo. And they're just saying, let me just do a demo and let me show you this is possible. And then, we can lead to a pilot, right? And, or you might say, hey, there is this company which builds AI solutions. We could bring them in. So you could build that in-house, or you can buy the technology. And to make it happen with AI, you have to build out a solution or product around it, whether it is in-house, whether it is a solution provider, outsource, it doesn't matter. But it's a build versus buy that you're going to make, and you're going to decide what technology, even if you have an external vendor who's going to come do this for you, you have to decide whether we are using an API from a closed platform like OpenAI or Google or Microsoft or something from AWS, or you're going to use an open source product, and or you're going to get a whole new startup that is promising something. Are you going to start, building something by fine tuning an existing model? Even if you say that, recently we had a project that I'm working on language translation, and we wanted to do machine translation for a low resource language. And everybody said, oh, GPT does it. And the free version of GPT was GPT-2. And we tried with GPT-2, didn't work. Then we found that Llama 3 was another option. We tried that. It's not that it doesn't work, it's expensive compute time, and it takes a lot of resources. And then we found the T5 model is wonderful when it comes to language models. It might not be good for a different use case or solution you're trying to build, but when it came to language, it is done better. So the pre-training was easier with T5, and then we ended up doing fine tuning with a data set, and we're kind of proceeding with that. So making that decision of which model are we going to use, whether it is going to be open source or closed, why, which specific model are we picking, which vendor is giving us a solution around it. Maybe there are a lot of chatbot solutions where you don't have to build a chatbot, intelligent chatbot. They just give you a tool or technology or a no-code tool, which is cloud-based. And or you go with a provider, like if you go to GoDaddy or Wix, it comes with some kind of chat building technology baked in. So all of those are, you have to understand the various technologies, the differences, not just like a feature comparison to how it translates. Like I said, for machine translation, T5 was better than GPT-2 and Llama. And we had to kind of go through that to figure that out. So understanding your value that you're going to bring from AI for your customer, and then figuring out the build versus buy decision. How am I going to pick which vendor? And it's never a lonely thing, but you need to go hands-on. You need to go understand the difference. You need to, or go into a discussion with somebody who's playing with this hands-on, if you are not that person. But you need to know the nitty-gritty details as it translates to the value you're bringing to your customer. In my case, it was machine translation, the example I'm telling you. If you're trying to create a chatbot for customer service, then the whole world looks like is the answer for you, but it's not. I was talking to one of my students who works in healthcare space, and they're trying to do digitization of transcriptions. And she was talking about how the healthcare system has a lot of complicated jargon, and there are a lot of different stakeholders, and the stakeholders might not be technically savvy, so you need to build a nice user interface. The product design has to be catering to the multiple stakeholders, but there are so many different jargon in the healthcare space that you just can't take LLM right out of the market and expect it to work for healthcare. It needs to be pre-trained for healthcare data set. And so then as they go through the decision of build versus buy, which vendor to pick, there are going to be some vendors who have already fine-tuned and have shown the knowledge that they have for healthcare, for this particular segment of healthcare that she's dealing with. So that's the thing I'm telling you about the build versus buy, being able to make that understanding. So the number one, first is you have to translate what is the value of AI to your customer and how you're going to bring this. And to do that, you have to understand the landscape of tools and technologies that's out there, right? And what is hype, what is here to stay. So you pick the right one. And within that, you have to say, okay, what is the right match for my customer use case? What is potentially possible to do the mapping? And then, then you go to the build versus buy. Is it expensive? It's going to cost me more compute if it is outside. And this week we had a weekly web speaker, Kasuba, who's a cloud expert, who came and talked to us about AI for cloud computing, or it's cloud computing for AI. And it was very fascinating because you can I typically see people who are either from AWS or Google Cloud or Microsoft Cloud or Oracle or Salesforce, and they just, stick with what they are familiar with because they keep building on that. Their knowledge builds on top of that, right? And but if you're getting started and you are saying, okay, I want to deploy AI, but I want to do a pilot, what would be the starting point? Where would you go? And so we had fun discussion of that. I think we barely scratched the surface because of the questions we got. So if you watch Weekly Wed, that's great. If you have not, I would recommend, watching that and telling us whether we can give you a part two. What does that look like to you? So I want to go and show you where you can find all this. So for those of you who are not my regulars, my newsletter goes out on Mondays. Thank you to Ranin. Just going to show you that. Here it is. So the URL is bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. And in here, you can actually find out the weekly WED, what is happening in weekly WED and the links and stuff like that. Okay, this is the machine translation model that we had as a session. We had this from Yashashwini on agents and multi-agent. So you can go watch the weekly WED if you missed it. But what I want to hear from you is if you're thinking about build versus buy and now you want to deploy it on the cloud, because that becomes a decision on whether you're building or buying, then you can, learn from a recent weekly WED speaker about cloud computing for AI. Okay, so we spoke about creating value and understanding that value and translating that for that, understanding the ecosystem, and then understanding open source versus closed platform in the LLM world. My promise here is to how to make GenAI work for you. So I'm picking LLM, which is the big area of GenAI, right? And what area, what technologies, and then within that, what matches for your use case. But what you are really bringing here is not just a guide for different technologies that's out there. What you're really doing is bringing value for your customers. So stop and think about in the past, before AI existed, what would I do? How would I create value for my customers? So you would improve cost, you will improve processes, you'll innovate by digitizing. It goes back to what are you doing? How are you solving for your customer? And in this health transcript case, they are digitizing it because they're trying to save time. They're trying to make it accessible, searchable. One of the things you might have heard is Reddit is trying to do search using AI. To deploy it in Reddit was a recent announcement that came this week. And the funny thing is, all these LLM models, they have been built with everything out from the internet and without permission. And so a lot of discussion I've seen is about they just took Reddit thread and then they trained these LLM models. And then to look at how Reddit would now say, hey, we will use LLM, we can do summarization and we can help you search for the exact topic. And we're going to use AI for that. Sounds kind of funny to me because, it's kind of overfitting that it has Reddit content already in the LLMs. So somebody in Reddit thought that would help their customers, but the point is, who is your customer? What is it that they are stuck with as a problem where you can create value? And what would you do outside of AI, leaving AI aside? What would you do? Would you digitize things and make it searchable? Would you, reduce their time? Remember the McDonald's case where they did the drive-through and then they used, they created the personalized menus. I'm not even talking about the voice thing that they got sued about, right? McDonald's got sued for using a customer's voice without permission, which is, unethical and, to begin with, but they got caught and they had to settle a lawsuit. But they did a personalization of the menu as you do a drive-through. And David Kerrigan has done a case study on this and spoken in my class and has contributed to my AIX book with a case study on this. So it's about personalization. So somebody in McDonald's said, we can create better value for our customers if we personalize the experience instead of sifting through the whole menu and making a decision. It costs them time. It's kind of agonizing how if we personalize it based on what the customer already knows. So that brings me back to my question I left you with. Let me see if you have questions for me, guys, and I will answer it. 1 second. And I will reload it because sometimes I see the questions. I see there are comments, but I'm not able to see the comment till I come and reload it. Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we spoke about whether Siri is an agent AI, and we said no. We've been talking about how to create value from Gen AI, and we've been talking about a step-by-step approach on creating value, mapping your experience. For that, you understand the ecosystem. For that, once you understand the ecosystem, you actually say what is here to stay or not. Then you see build versus buy. How do you decide which API technology tools to go with, right? And build versus buy is a personal decision internally that you can decide what makes sense for the company traditionally, right? And then so how do you bring all this is value for the customer? How do you map your own experience to that? So once you know what your customer actually typically does, you say, no, our customers won't accept this. You must have heard this a lot in companies, right? When you're coming up with ideas. So that is the person who understands the customer. So you actually talk to your stakeholders and say, what can we do? What's our goal here? Are we leaving money at the table because we have some excess costs, we have bad processes? What are the top things the customer is complaining about? I remember I used to work for a startup which was making like connected GPS a while back before we got Maps and Google Maps and Apple Maps. And I used to talk to customer service. At the end of the day, I used to talk to customer service. I had friends at customer service, and we would talk about what are the topics that people are coming and asking us. What were the things that you solved that delighted the customer? And in eBay, one of the things we had to do was we had like customers used to call, and there was a call center, and we had to I think at a certain level they made everybody in the company spend a day just listening in on those calls. We could not speak, we could not contribute. We just had to listen in on what are the customer service calls customers were coming with, how was the customer service people responding, what was happening, just to get a sense of what were the top issues. So it was not like I used to work in analytics and we used to look at the data, right? Every data was a customer touch point. The customer came in through this channel, the customer clicked here, we made this recommendation, and the customer didn't take this recommendation, and the customer bought this, or they spent so much time on the site or the app, and they came on this kind of app or a mobile app or mobile web or iPhone or Android. All of those was data. But listening to real people being frustrated, still giving us a chance, wanting to do business with us is very humbling. And so listening to the customer, you can find out what kind of top issues that are out there that we've not solved for. And then you can say, hey, is AI the answer? Do I have the data for this? And then and so you have to formulate how a problem can be solved and help the customer, help the company before bringing AI into it. And then you bring AI into it. Now, question for you, if you're going to bring AI into it, what is different from asking somebody from the company to say, hey, can you build a program to solve for this problem? What is different with AI compared to making a programmer do this for you? I always ask this question in the start of a class on AI, as how is AI different from traditional AI? Now I've kind of flipped it and asking you differently. So traditional AI was built by programmers. They said, this is the steps we will follow and we will solve a problem, right? And AI is trained by data and AI makes a prediction. So if something is prescriptive and you can follow these 5 steps, 10 steps, 12 steps, whatever, and you'll arrive at the answer, then you can just program for it. If it is predictive, then it is not prescriptive each time. There's so much data, so many variables, and it is not going to be a prescriptive step that you can follow. That's when you'll need AI for the solution. So when you understand what are the problems you have for the company, what could be a potential solution, do you have the data for it, whether AI can solve for it, that it is not a straightforward looking through a spreadsheet and organizing and say, who are these customers? And just, if you're able to solve for it directly without AI, then AI is not the answer. Then if it is a lot of data, a lot of variables, and you have to do some feature engineering, you're going to bring your business acumen to do that feature engineering, then AI becomes the answer. Similarly, in the LLM world, a lot of people think that every time there is you come up with building AI and a chatbot just because you can chat with the customer. The customer comes to chat with you because they want to tell you something. So if you're ready to listen to that, whether you're doing lead gen, whether you're actually doing customer support, or whether you're posting a survey, whatever you do, if you have a real customer who is talking to you, then think about the touch points where the customer is talking to you. And that is where you will actually call for the customer, where you will actually think about whether we can use AI and specifically LLM with a customer interface. Talking of surveys, I have to tell you this because Ranin has been reminding me about this. I'm trying to find out. Some of you might have already got the email with the survey we have sent out. Let me find that survey for you. So one of the things we are trying to do is, So remember the newsletter I sent you, bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter? That has the survey too. It has the weekly bed link. If you follow us on Business School of AI, that's my student community on LinkedIn, you'll get all of this. You'll get the weekly bed, you'll get the newsletter, you'll find out the Sudha live schedule. And I post periodically about, the latest comments on some latest happenings in GenAI space. But the latest, greatest is a beautiful survey. Some of you might have already taken that survey. Thank you, guys. So one of the things we are trying to do is I offer courses on Business School of AI. I teach at multiple different universities, but the courses on Business School of AI are not like any other course. I don't want to give you another course that you can find in MIT or anywhere else, because if you ask me for a recommendation, I'll just refer that. What I'm interested in is how to help you, the kind of discussion we were doing today, right? How to make you make that connection between your skill, your experience, your education, and your project showcase to now take it to the next level to say, I can create value for my company to do innovation, or I can make this mapping of my skills to the value from AI so that I can move into AI as a career pivot within the company or say a different company. How do you make that? It's not a theoretical. I've been telling you a lot of theory and with examples, and we're discussing this, but my courses are where you would go hands-on and you would go learn and you would work in a collaborative team. And it's not a super time consuming exercise. We have like short online courses, and I recently did offer a course on 15 days email course on GenAI. So I would like to hear from you. Do you like email courses? Do you want live online? Do you want on-demand courses? What is the kind of duration of the courses you like? We have a lot of different topics on the latest, greatest GenAI. I have some on autonomous vehicles from the past. What do you want to see? So we would like to get your feedback as we build the fall catalog. And I'm hearing a lot as I'm working on Agent AI, how to build using Agent AI course for LinkedIn Learning as my next course. I'm hearing a lot of demand for Gen AI. So that's why we bring these for free to you at Weekly Wed. Everything doesn't have to be a paid course. The basic knowledge you need to start thinking about how you connect a new topic to your work does not have to cost you a course. And you may not have the time and bandwidth and the energy to go take a course. So that's why we do Weekly Wed every Wednesday. And you hear from a speaker, you hear the best practice, you get to ask questions in a small Zoom setting. So we've had 3 rounds of Gen AI in various flavors of it, right? Like the one I showed you from Yashashwini on multi-agent Gen AI. Sneha Jadhav had done one on how to connect digital twins to Agent AI. And I did this discussion with Yashashwini on what is not Gen AI, what is not Agent AI. and how to start thinking about building products with Agent AI. So what kind of topic would you like in my courses? What kind of modality would you like? What kind of duration would you like? What are we doing right and wrong? What are we doing something that's not working for you that you want us to fix? So if you are my student from Stanford or Barcelona or any of the EMBA consortiums or San Jose Lucas School of Business, or any of the people who have visited me at Silicon Valley, or when I visited you in Spain or Italy, it doesn't matter. I want to hear from you. And, if you have been my student, especially, and if you're not taken my course on Business School of AI and you go, I don't know if it's for me, I want you to take the survey and tell me it's not for you. I want to know, who is this course for? What kind of things am I offering? What am I doing right? What kind of things I can do? Because I'm focusing on, hey, we need to bring external speakers for best practice. We're doing that with Weekly Wed. I'm doing more hands-on courses. We have a capstone. Even in the 15-day GenAI course, we have a capstone project. We had done a live lab course in the past when I was teaching you machine learning a couple years back, and we had partnered with KiwiBot. And we said, okay, KiwiBot is going to be our business partner. And we had 3 different leaders from within KiwiBot who talked to the students. And a team of students came together on this live lab course, and they said, okay, what is the business problem KiwiBot wants to solve? And 3 different stakeholders had 3 different input. And with that, the students worked with me week by week on a framework to think about how to create a problem statement so that you can build AI. And I taught them how to build a machine learning model, which was right to solve the problem. So we could do something like that on a live lab. So these are the things, but I want to hear from you. So let me show you where the survey is. I will really appreciate it if you can take the survey here. I'm going to post the link right here on LinkedIn. As I said, it is here. Survey for Sudhar's courses. Please tell us what works or what doesn't, or what you want to see. Thanks. And it should take 1 to 2 minutes. Ranin says it takes 1 minute. I would say it takes 2 minutes. She must be typing super fast than me. So let me show you the form. Here is the form. So basically, you're saying, where you heard about Business School of AI, and many of you have been pinging me, talking to me, chatting with me, but you don't know the Business School of AI is my brand. So when I post something on LinkedIn, you're responding, and when I post it from Business School of AI, you don't know it is me. So it's very fascinating for me to know that. Or you might come from LinkedIn Learning. And one of the things I've done in my LinkedIn Learning course is I said, come find me at sudhajamthe.com. And then people go there. Right. And I recently figured out I have not even mentioned Business School of AI in my own Sudha Jamthe personal brand site. So please help me, guys. This basically says, where did you hear? What are the courses you have taken in the past? Or you can say none. And how would you rate your experience? And what are the top features that you want to see? Because we are going to take this and we're building out a fall catalog of courses, and I will incorporate your feedback completely, and I'll be so grateful. And I can make this such that it works for you. So we're kind of helping each other. That's why Ranin's messages are saying, help us to help you, is how she's saying that. I love how her choice of words. So, and then, that's all, right? With the courses you have taken and the delivery mechanisms, the materials, and, the extra stuff, and, what are the things, what are the topics, and, things like that, right? And a little bit about the newsletter, and then you're done. So maybe Ranin is done, right? Maybe you need a minute, or maybe you just think about it for an extra minute. In 2 minutes, you're done. So please take these, guys. I really want your feedback, and I want to make sure that the fall catalog actually reflects what you bring. And I don't want it to just make up my own set of courses, though I'm a technology futurist, and I can tell you Agent AI is the next thing. I don't want to just give you another course. I want to give you stuff that you want, topics you want, in the modality you want, and to help you make that connection so that you can take that and then go apply it in your job and innovate, apply that so that you bring your business acumen, prove that you can create value from AI and Gen AI, and then go, grow your career, pivot your career, or help innovate in your business. So with that, we have reached the end of the hour. There's a bunch of jobs that we have shared, so I'm not going to just parrot it out here. But for those of you who are interested, I will say the Jamthe newsletter is at bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. And it has the jobs and some calls, I think some calls. I don't think this time I had events, but typically I would include events. So every month I'm doing this once with you, Sudha Live. And the beginning of the month, the newsletter is the long one where I've listed the jobs. So go check bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter if you're already not part of it, or it came and you were on vacation and you were in your August mood and you've not seen it. Go to bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. And maybe you like some of the jobs. One exercise that I had done was, I think at the last of the live, I took one of the jobs and then walked you through on how you can map your existing skills. That seems my topic these days, top of mind. I'm just thinking, how do you map what you bring, who you are, what you bring, your experience, your business acumen? How do you translate that to an AI job, to a real job? Not theoretically, but practically, so that you can go land the job. And I help a lot of my students do that. So I just thought I would do that. And I did that in the last Sudha Live. So if you want to take a look at that recording. But I just want to make sure that you tell me in the survey what works for you. And remember, Business School of AI is my community. And if you're my student, if you're not part of it, you should join me there, because we have a lot of conversations, a lot of knowledge sharing. We don't do too much posting. It's very precise, but then the discussions happen at Weekly Wed. The live discussions happen at Weekly Wed. And if you've taken my courses, we also have like a community area relative to the courses. But we're trying to keep that separate so it's not noisy. And we can, help you kind of, you're busy people, you have, stuff going on at work and you want to learn, and it's intimidating as you're seeing so much noise, especially in the GenAI space. Every day there is something new. So I want to help. So in all my different channels, I want to help demystify that for you. In my courses, in my Business School of AI community, I want to help you make that connection, so to your skills, to your goals, to your business acumen, so that you can actually career pivot or go innovate and do cool stuff with AI and make AI work for you, make Gen AI work for you. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. Let me see if there is any other questions from anybody. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot that, end of day Friday and early morning in Asia, that you spend this hour with me. So thank you so much. And I will see you at Weekly Bed on Wednesday, if that's time zone sense for you. You can even reply back to any of the newsletters and or any of your other channels and just chat with me. Otherwise, I will see you at Sudha Live next month. Thanks. Stay safe. Bye. Can you stop the live stream?